Hello there. Welcome to this UI UX design course. My name is Jacqueline Asaridate, a UI UX designer, and I'll be your instructor for today. I hope you enjoy the course as you move along with me. Okay, so today we'll be doing a very simple design of a web interface. You're going to be getting our design inspiration from Dribble, and then we'll bring it into our Figma to design. Today's tool that we'll be using will be Figma. Yes. So I already have my file created. If you have your Figma, you open it and then you make sure you create a new file. So to get started, I go to Dribble. I already have my inspiration down. So this is what we'll be designing for today. So this design is by Lira Zeitz Vaz on Dribble. The name of the design is NE Corp. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the image into Figma so that I don't have to keep switching back and forth as I design. So I copy and paste it here in Figma. Yeah, so there we have it. Then I start my design. So to get started, I have to create a frame for my design, right? So I click on the frame tool, or you can just use the shortcut F on your keyboard to activate the frame options, and then you select your frame option from the list that presents. So I'm going to select 440 by 1024 as that is the industry standard for any web design, sorry. So yeah, so there I have it. It's ready to go. So I have my frame now. The next thing to do is I rename my frame. So I'm just going to rename it to what should I do? A landing page, because this is a landing page. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a grid for my page so that I follow along. I follow along as I design. I like to design with a grid to guide me so I don't go into certain areas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my layout grid option here. Then I click on this square thing here, then click on the option, select columns, and set my margin. I'm going to set my margin to 80 pixels. Yeah, so this is good enough for me. Okay. Let me lower it a bit so that it doesn't interfere with my design as I move along. Good. Okay, so I have my grid ready to go. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to design the nav bar. In case you don't know what the nav bar is, the thing at the top here, where you have the logo and then the menu options or the menu items and then the search bar and then a button up there. Okay, so let me zoom in for us to see our design well. Oops, I forgot something. So before we start designing, we have to... Okay, no, I didn't forget anything. Okay, so we are going to design our nav bar. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to design a nav bar, which is what we see here. If you can see my mouse where it's pointing and keeps moving. Okay, so since I don't really have this logo, I'm just going to put a simple text logo there and then we move along. Okay, so yeah, so I click on T in the toolbar, or just T on my keyboard using the shortcut. And then to create my logo, let me just as well as NE, right? So NE in caps. Let me see if I can get an interesting font for this. Let me make this as big as possible by increasing the font size. 40 and doesn't look to be bold. Okay, this looks good enough. So I guess I'll just stick here and make it a big bold, okay, so this looks good enough. So I guess I'll just maintain this text and make the size a bit bigger, Okay, so I have this there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the menu options or menu items that we see here. So you have the about us, the mortgages, the buy a home, refinance, and then we have the button and the search icon. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the menu, the about us. Oops, I have to change the font. I really love to use Gilroy as I move along. So okay, let me first type about us, change your properties, Gilroy, yeah, make it smaller. I think 20 is a bit too small. And make it semi-bold. Okay, let's set it to 20. 22 looks fine. 22 looks fine. So I duplicate this so I have my first text down. I'm just going to duplicate the others. This by selecting the text and then pressing and holding Command D to create a duplicate, and then using my mouse to move my duplicate away. So I have my duplicate. So now I rename it to mortgages. So my mortgage. Then duplicate again, then rename to buy a home, and then duplicate again, move to refinance. Cool. So I just evenly distribute my things up here by going here, selecting this, and then just clicking on tidy up. As you see, it distributes the space between them evenly for me. So all I have left to do is either to increase if I'm not okay with the space I have between them, or reduce it. So with this, I think 60 is okay for me. 60 is okay for me. So yeah, let me push it here a bit. Okay, it looks a bit centered. Let me reduce the color intensity. So from 100 to 70. Okay. So a bit too dark for me. Okay, so 80. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the apply now button up here. So to do that, I have to select my rectangle in the toolbar menu. Sorry. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the apply now button. To do that, I have to select the square in the toolbar up there and then draw a rectangle here on my frame. Okay, has to be a bit bigger. Okay, so let me set the height to 60 and then the width to 180, and then I round the corners. So I set the corner radius to 30. Then I change the fill color. So I change the fill color to black, pure black. Yeah. So now I have my rectangular shape. The next thing I have to do is create the text inside my shape. So selecting the text, I click on the shape and then I type apply now. Okay, so now I have my text. The next thing I have to do is make sure the text is centered both horizontally and vertically in my button. So I'm done with that now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group both the text and the shape. After grouping it, I'm going to rename my group to buttons. Sorry. Okay, so the next thing I have